Genetic sequencing is starting to reveal the crucial role that hybridization played in evolution, which was once thought to be a biological fluke in the 20th century in animals like mules and ligers that had parents of different species. Botanists first recognized that hybridization contributes to the evolution of plant species in the 1930s. The term introgression was first used in 1938 by Edgar Anderson and Leslie Hubricht to describe the hybridization of species of herbaceous perennial wildflowers from the Tradescantia genus. In most cases, the offspring of the crosses are bred repeatedly with one of the original parent species, while still carrying genetic material from the other parent species. The crosses produced offspring with an equal split of parental genetic material. As an alternative, hybrids would breed with other hybrids, eventually leading to the emergence of completely new plant species. Zoologists knew about these and other examples of hybridization in the plant world, but there was a perception that cross-species breeding was much less common in animals. That idea stemmed from biologist Ernst Mayer's description in the 1940s of the biological characteristics that defined species. Essentially, any animal population that could not or did not breed with other similar populations for more than 2 decades, including in his 1963 book, Animal Species and Evolution. Mayer argued that the evolutionary importance of hybridization seems small in the better-known groups of animals, but the idea is not universally accepted. Some biologists persisted in studying hybrid animals despite the dogma that they were uncommon in nature and weren't responsible for spurring evolutionary innovation. They were eager to learn what prevented them from evolving into new species, what new gene combinations were produced by hybridization, and how natural selection affected them. Researchers in the late 1980s and early 1990s started to demonstrate that, in contrast to the prevailing theory, hybridization was a valid mechanism of evolutionary change, one that could significantly affect an animal's capacity to adapt to its environment. They did this by concentrating on animals in what scientists refer to as hybrid zones, geographical regions in which 2 species interbreed to produce offspring of mixed ancestry. Evidence for hybrid-driven adaptation is perhaps nowhere more profound than in the warm, tropical waters of Lake Victoria and Africa. There, more than 500 species of bony fish, called cichlids, that sport brilliant orange, yellow, and blue hues, roam the lake's 2,400 cubic kilometers. Some species only eat plants, others eat invertebrates. The bigger species eat other fish, and still more feed on Lake Victoria's detritus. A natural hybridization zone has formed where the ranges of savanna and hamadryas baboons meet. Hamadryas males that aren't old enough to breed with their own females may temporarily join a savanna troop and breed with savanna females. There are an increasing number of hybrid animals in this area. Sometimes this phenomenon leads to a sharper demarcation between 2 species, when a similar hybrid zone formed between Baltimore orioles and western orioles. The hybrids suffered very reduced breeding success because none of the birds wanted to mate with them, not even other hybrids. Now, the 2 original species don't interbreed even though their ranges still overlap. We, therefore, saw the creation of a new reproductive isolating mechanism, a behavioral one, in historic times. No one knows what's going to happen in the future with the hybrid baboons. The behavior of the 2 species is so distinctive that it's hard to imagine the hybrid animals experiencing as good reproductive success as either original species. But who knows? Genetic analysis of a rare skull found in the Natural History Museum of Denmark showed that in the past few decades, a male beluga, or Delphinapterus lucas, and a female narwhal, Monodon monoceros, mated, creating a hybrid called Narluga that looked a bit like both. The animal's 18 teeth were small, like a beluga's, and twisted, like a narwhal's tusk. Those teeth may have changed the way the Narluga fed, not hunting on cod, squid, and shrimp in the water column as both of its parents did, but instead feeding off the bottom. Its teeth may have allowed it, and others like it, to occupy a different ecological niche than its parents. Snowshoe hares, or Lepus americanus, and black-tailed jackrabbits, Lepus californicus, have interbred in the past, and the hybrids have since mated with other snowshoe hares. Whole genome and whole exome sequencing revealed that the offspring hares retained a variant of the agouti gene that resulted in brown coat color rather than white, and hare populations experiencing mild, less snowy winters, allowing them to better blend into the drab surroundings of dirt and dead leaves. The coy wolf is a coyote-wolf hybrid found throughout eastern North America, from Canada south to Virginia. For decades, people incorrectly labeled coy wolves as eastern coyotes. However, the large size of the coy wolves has confused both scientists and lay people alike, since researchers first described the animal in 1969. Over the years, scientists have proposed several hypotheses to explain the canine's large size. Recent studies have shown that eastern coyotes have both coyote, Canis latrans, and eastern wolf, or Canis lycaean ancestry. In 2010, a study published in the journal Northeastern Naturalist argued that eastern coyotes should more appropriately be termed coy wolves to reflect their hybrid origin. Many scientists now recognize the coy wolf as one of 4 wild canine species in North America, the others being gray wolves, Canis lupus, eastern wolves, or Canis lycaean, and western coyotes, or Canis latrans. As the world warms and the Arctic sea ice thins, starving polar bears are being driven even further south, where they meet grizzlies, whose ranges are expanding northwards. And with that growing contact between the two species comes more mating, and therefore increased sightings for their hybrid offspring, with features that could give them an edge in warming northern habitats. Some scientists speculate that the pizzlies, or growlers, could be here to stay. Grizzly bears and polar bears only diverged 500,000 to 600,000 years ago, so the two species can mate and produce viable offspring. Observations made in captivity and a study conducted in the wild also suggest that the hybrids are fertile and have themselves produced young. Wild sightings of hybrid pizzly bears began in 2006 when a hunter shot what he thought was a polar bear in the Northwest Territories of the Canadian Arctic. When he took a closer look, he found an altogether more unusual animal, a bear with the cream-white fur of a polar bear, but the long claws, humped back, shallow face, and brown patches of a grizzly. DNA tests confirmed that the animal was a hybrid, the first documented wild offspring of a polar bear and a grizzly bear. Since then, sightings of the hybrids have been increasing, with a 2017 study in the journal The Arctic showing 8 hybrids springing from a single female polar bear, who mated with 2 grizzly bears. The rise of the pizzlies coincides with the polar bear's decline. Their numbers are projected to decrease by more than 30% in the next 30 years. This precipitous fall is linked partly to the encroachment of grizzly bears into polar bear ranges, where they outcompete them for alternative food sources, but also to polar bears' highly specialized diets. Wolfen is a marine mammal created by crossbreeding bottlenose dolphin and false killer whale. Both species live in warm, temperate, and tropical waters, as they often congregate in the wild. Despite great differences in size of bottlenose dolphins and false killer whales, they are able to mate. Wolfens have been born in captivity and have also been reported in the wild. Researchers suspect that the hybridization events are perhaps becoming more common, as human disturbances shift species ranges in ways that promote breeding across similar species. Climate change may also be driving hybridization between species. Evolutionary biologists have seen pulses of crossbreeding as species shift where they live to higher or lower latitudes or altitudes to find cooler temperatures. When they move into those regions, the barriers to hybridization, such as differences in mate choice or other factors, might disappear. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment with what you would like to see in the following videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.